in Pat Bazza and
Mrs. Bazza.
And welcome to today's vlog, where we're going to give you an update on our journey with EVs, which has not worked out the way we thought it would do.
No.
Did it?
No, it did not.
No. We got rid of the last EV last week, and I'll explain our journey, why we made that decision, and we'll show you what car we've bought instead. Back in 2022, we got a Tesla, didn't we?
We did.
We got a Tesla Model 3 red, long range. That's what we got. And the reason we went for Tesla is we wanted to do road trips, didn't we? And
We did.
The infrastructure,
That was the plan.
Yeah, the infrastructure for the Teslas was a lot better. It's called the NACS, the NACS connectors, and the other ones are like the CCS. And there's hundreds more Tesla stations and everything else, aren't there?
There's a lot.
So, and in 2022, I don't know if you remember, it was going crazy here. The cars were hard to get hold of, quite expensive.
Didn't you have to put your name down for them for a long time?
Yeah, I think you did. And when people were buying them, they were flipping them and selling them for more money than they were paying for them. When you bought a Tesla in 2022, you could sell it in 3 months and make a profit on it. Everybody was flipping them.
Yep.
But we got a Model 3 as our first foray into it. You still had your Murano.
I did.
Your lovely car.
I love my car.
Yeah. So she's still bitter that we got rid of that. The Murano. What was the problem with the Murano, though?
It was a CVT.
Yeah, so it whined.
Yes. And it didn't do, it was not very fuel efficient.
Yeah, 18 miles to the gallon, something.
If I was lucky.
Yeah. So we got the Model 3, and what did you like about the Model 3?
How fast it was.
Yeah, she loved the acceleration, as you'll see here. Give it the beans. Whoa! You're already at 60, Max. You like it?
I like it.
So yeah, she really loved the acceleration, and the things we didn't like about it was it didn't feel like the kind of money we were paying for a premium car. That it did have squeaks. What do you call it? The tin can?
The tin can, I used to call it, because it rattled and it squeaked, and yeah, it was not good quality.
Yeah, a few panel alignments, misalignment, nothing major though, was there, on it, but it just didn't feel, and we've done all vlogs, you can go back and see them when we picked it up, when we filmed it and everything. So, and the other thing I learned from it is, we really wanted a bigger car. If you're going to do road trips, that saloon wasn't really big enough, was it?
No.
For what we wanted to do.
No.
A much bigger
Although
car.
it was pretty comfy.
It was very comfy, I'll give it that. I'll give it very comfy, I'll give it that. I'm very fast. I had all the tech, it was a learning curve. Do you remember that first time we drove it and you had to like Google how to use the windscreen wipers?
Yeah.
Because we couldn't turn them on.
Because it was raining and we didn't know how to put the windscreen
And
wipers.
that's the problem with Teslas, is everything's different. So back in 2022, I believe that EVs were the future, and I still believe they will be one day, but not for us currently, because we kind of lost the
pixie dust,
the shine off it, and I'll explain why as we go through. So back in 2020, beginning of 2023, we said we want something bigger. Prices were still going up at that point, and we ended up going with a Model Y Performance, which we didn't get as a new one. It was a test car.
Test car at the Mall, wasn't it?
The Mall, yeah. So we got it like used, but it's still classed it as new, so we could get the tax credit and everything, because the tax credit came in 2023 as well. So we got the Model Y, and that was a really nice car. It was a lot bigger, huge inside, very comfortable, and seemed a lot higher quality. First thing we saw, it seemed a lot higher quality.
Yeah, I think we did get lucky with it though.
Yeah.
We didn't have any problems with it, did we?
No, well.
We were very lucky.
Apart from later on.
Yeah, well,
yeah, we'll get in touch on that. But yeah, no problems initially.
With the car.
Yeah. The only thing, and it was really fast. I mean, actually, that made me realise it was too fast. We didn't really need a car that would do 2.7 seconds. Do you remember, it used to make your eyes go funny?
Never too fast.
Never too fast. Maxine has the need.
the need for speed.
So yeah, so that was that side of things. And at the same time in 2023, much to Maxine's disappointment, I convinced her to get rid of her Murano and get an Ioniq 5. Yeah. Now the Ioniq 5 was a really good price and a lot better build quality.
I loved that car as well.
Yeah.
I did really like that car.
Yeah.
And I was a bit sad to see it go again.
Yeah, but and also we got 2 years free charging with it, which seemed a real steal.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to pay for electric for 2 years. We're coming into retirement, as you know, we're both retired, so coming into retirement, we get free charging with it. And the goal was we'd use the CCS, which powered the Ioniq 5 for around town.
Yeah.
and we'd use the Tesla for doing road trips.
For road trips.
And, you know, they both were 250 mile range on them. So we never had a problem charging them at home. We had a level 2 charger. Yours we could charge for free anywhere. And that was the plan. And then a few things came in that changed things. One was retirement. Because when retirement hit, we kind of looked at, do we really need 2 cars?
2 cars?
Between us. And the market had changed as we hit into 2024. What we found was that Tesla, the way Tesla were marketing their cars was to cut price and get rid of them cheap, which means all the second-hand prices
fell through
the floor. So we were losing like $500 a month. I go and check how much it was worth, and every month it was losing $500 a month. So that was kind of a worry. And then we decided to finally go do a road trip, didn't we?
We did.
All the way up to Virginia. We thought we'd do it safe on the 95.
We thought it would be an easy, safe route.
Yeah, and I already had some concerns because we've been to Dallas earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And we've been on the back roads, and I said I want to do a road trip across America at some point. And one thing we noticed, even with the Tesla, there were very few charging stations. Do you remember when we went on that back road because of the accident on the motorway? And there was nothing, was there, for like 2 hours? And I was thinking, I might even struggle with the range on the Tesla here. But anyway, we thought we'd give it a road trip, 95, said nice and safe, lots of charging stations. What would we, let's get the experience to go up to Cloyham. There's a vlog on that, I'll put a link into that. And a few things happened on that road trip. Well, we've been on hold for over 10 minutes to the agents. We tried ringing another number, it took us to exactly the same spot. So we've requested roadside assistance, and we're still waiting for someone to review the request for roadside assistance. So this is going well. We did get an error code that came up, a BMS message as you saw. And I've googled it, and it talks about being problems with the charging port, so we'll see. And it's trying to charge again, but it's not going anywhere, so we might not be going anywhere. We'll see what happens. What were your thoughts on the road trip? What did we share with people when
it
we got
was
back?
so much anxiety with the battery charging and things like that, wasn't it?
Road range.
And
range anxiety.
Range anxiety, that's the word.
Yep.
So, and you wasn't sure if they were all going to work when you got there?
No, and that a few didn't they? I mean,
the few didn't.
I don't think we'd ever had them like broken, but they were like running slower than what they should have done.
Yeah.
You know, you'd only have 1 or 2 not running the speed they should have run.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, we weren't risking it. It was still saying 8%, but that was going down the 95 and we're going round it. The mapping system would not give us an option of mapping round it. We tried going the other way and it was dropping it another 4%. So we just ran off here. Kirkland, are we at, Max? Kingsbridge for a splash and go. We said there were 250s, but they're 150s. What speed we're getting, Max?
128.
Yeah, 150s. Yeah, so range anxiety was definitely one thing. And the other thing about, you don't realise with range anxiety is if we found one, I think you spent half your time on the phone when we were driving, always checking for places to charge.
Checking if they were any closer or...
Yeah, and then when it took you, sometimes they were the slow ones, the 150 kilowatts instead of the 250.
Yeah.
So we'd make changes at the last minute to say, oh no, we won't go to that one.
We'll go to this one.
We'll go to this one, it's closer, but then what you forget is that a battery has to precondition. So we'd suddenly turn off and go to a charger and found it would charge slow because the battery wasn't ready to accept a fast charge. All the things you don't know about. And some of them were slow, as we said. And then, of course, we found the ones in Virginia. And what happened in Virginia?
It basically blew the car up.
Yeah. Yeah, we plugged it in and it just stopped.
And it stopped.
Stopped working.
Stopped charging. No charge, nothing.
We went 2 or 3 in the middle of the road trip. And
we thought, this is just the one.
Yeah.
It's just the one. We'll move. And we tried 4 different charge stations in that specific area. Well, in the point, didn't we?
Yep.
None of them worked. We're like, it's a bit strange.
Went to another one, didn't we?
In fact, well, luckily in Charlottesville, we had another one, even though it was like 20 minutes drive away. So we went over to that one, plugged in there again. No charge. Will not charge the car at all. And we had to, the only way to fix it, they wouldn't come out, was to take it to a charging station. To a garage, Tesla garage. And the nearest one was back where we just come from, 100 miles in the direction. Yeah. So we had to go all the way back there. And what they diagnosed is the chargers had over voltaged and blown the fuse in the car. Yeah. And they blamed the charging station, which got me thinking, because I thought, it's fixed, the car will be good, but that means it could happen to anytime on a road trip. Again. And the only way they can fix them, you can't call the AA out and have them come and fix it, because you have to go to a Tesla station or get Tesla to come and pick it up. So that gave me, we came back after that road trip and said,
this isn't really working for us, is it?
No.
We weren't really enjoying the journey. It was all about stress in planning,
Yeah, it
charging
was too
stations.
stressful.
Yeah, we've got to pick Chloe up, we've got to leave, we've got to go charge before. It was all like mentally you had to have stuff done and
Yeah.
prepared. And again,
You
you've
have
got
to be very organised.
you got to charge every 200 miles when you're doing a 1,000-mile journey. You know, it's a lot. And charge when you get there for when you're coming back. So you couldn't do things on the fly.
No.
Everything had to be really planned
and organised.
and organised. So when we got back, we said, okay, that and what I mentioned earlier about the value of it dropping like crazy, we made the decision to get rid of the Tesla, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Well, it was still worth
A little bit of
a
money.
little bit of money. So what we did is when we got rid of the Tesla, we traded it into. We went to Carvana, and we got a hybrid, a Sorento.
Yes.
Yeah, Kia
Sorento.
hybrid, a red one. We liked that car, but there was a couple of things we didn't like about that car.
Wasn't fast enough.
She has the need for speed, so it wasn't fast enough. And also, I don't believe it had like the one pedal driving.
No, it didn't.
We did like the height of it and the
Yes.
size of it, but the fact it was sat higher up than the Ioniq and the Tesla, weren't you? So no, we traded the car in when we traded it, and the way Carvana works is they can give your car back after a week if you don't want it and get your money back. And we went down to one car then, it'd be one EV, which was yours, which we knew we wouldn't be able to road trip. But then we said, okay, well, we'll keep this EV for around town where it's useful and where EVs work really well, and then we'll rent a car
Yeah.
when we go on road trips. But then we started looking at the price of renting cars, and we were down to one car then, so that also meant we were saving insurance,
Yeah.
and maintenance costs. Not there is a lot of maintenance on EVs, but it meant we were saving a lot of money. So we don't want to go back to two cars again, do we?
No, we decided one was enough.
One was enough, and it either had to be something we could road trip, or it had to be a rental car, keep the EV. But like I say, rental car prices, we looked at going, on some road
crazy
trips.
prices.
We went up to Chloe's recently and we flew, and it was only $100 more to fly up and get a rental car up there than it was to rent a car and drive it all the way up, and then we'd have had to pay the petrol all the way up and back.
And it had taken a lot more time.
And taken like 2 days extra, so they're really expensive. As I say, so we had Maxine's car, we loved it, but what was the big problem about your car? Very comfortable, very well built, very good quality. What was the big drawback about yours?
The charging.
Yeah, the charging.
charging stations.
Yeah, so it's free charging for 2 years, which is fantastic if you can charge.
If.
We had Electrify America is the charging company, and we have 2 stations here in Orlando. Mm-hmm. One has like 6 terminals, there's one has about 6 as well. Charging stations.
Yeah.
Individual charging stations, of which at any time probably 20% are broken.
Yep.
And I'm talking for months and months and months they're broken. So there's only like every 3/4 of them working, which you never saw on the Tesla ones, so we're never
No.
down for that long. Also, they're giving free charging to a lot of other cars as well.
Brands of car.
And so you
makes
got
of car.
there, and the worst ones are actually, these are 350 kilowatts that would charge your car in
20 minutes?
20 minutes. But there's lots of these little GM cars that do a lot of Ubers around here for the airport, and they charge really slowly, and they go in and charge up to 100%. And I'd say every time I go there, they're there for over an hour charging. So what does that mean is you got a queue. Every time you go, there's 4 or
You
5
can't
cars
charge it.
waiting. And with a few times we tried to charge and we've come back home.
Yeah.
And we ended up charging it here at home, in the garage, in the level 2 charger we've got.
And paying for it.
And paying for it ourselves. So we then decided we were going to get rid of your car and go for something called either a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. Difference being with a hybrid, it's a car with a battery that gives it some boost, give it extra range. Or a plug-in hybrid is one that has a bigger battery and you can just drive it on the battery, or you can drive it on the battery and petrol. And we've done that in England the last couple of times. Last 2 years we've been to England. We've been like 4 times in 2 years to see family. We've had hybrids, haven't
Hybrids.
we? Really like them. Really, really like them.
Really liked them.
And so we're going to get one of those and come back to America. And guess what? They don't
Yeah,
sell them
they
here.
don't.
You can't get them. Where do we have? A CHR, we had a Qashqai.
Yeah, Qashqai.
They don't sell any of those over here. There's very few hybrids. We test drove the Mazda CX-90 plug-in hybrid.
Yes.
And thoughts on that were...
It was
very-
nice.
very jerky, wasn't it?
Very jerky.
Yeah.
It was nice inside. It was nice outside, but it had a really big
Nose.
bonnet on it.
Yeah.
I still got a bonnet. And I didn't like that. I didn't like it at all.
It was very clunky, wasn't it?
Very clunky and jerky when you were when it was going
Switching between battery and engine, yeah. And then we drove the normally aspirated, the V6 version. That was a lot better.
It was a lot better.
And smoother and looked nice, but you're only getting 24 miles to the gallon, and it was still very stiff suspension, very sporty.
Yeah.
So after that, we went and I think we drove the Honda Pilot, which
Yes.
is just a straight V6, and I love the Honda Pilot. But then maybe we used to have one in Virginia, and maybe it was more what I was used to.
But it was a very basic car.
Yeah, it was a V6.
It was very expensive.
It was very expensive. All these cars we were looking at were like $50,000 new, because they're all new ones we were testing. And again, that would only get you about 21 miles to the gallon because it was a V6. Then the next we went and drove, I think, was the Palisade. Was it Hyundai Palisade or Kia Hyundai Palisade? Palisade. We both like that.
That was a really nice car.
Really nice car. Again, it's a V6. It had cream interior. It basically had all the whistles and bells you could ever want. But again, it would only do 21 miles to the gallon, and that's what we kept coming back to, is we wanted something that was more efficient. And then we went away and we tried to drive a RAV4 hybrid or plug-in hybrid. Couldn't find one anywhere. Hybrids are really rare around here. Couldn't find one anywhere. We got one from CarMax, I think, to test drive it.
Yeah.
That wasn't good.
It was awful.
Very clunky. Whine, made a lot of noise. Well, it only had 10,000 miles on it. It was like, if that's what it's like after 10,000 miles. Yeah, it just felt old school, didn't it? The screen was a lot smaller. I think it's due for a refresh.
Yeah.
And
I don't think it's been refreshed for many years.
No, it's due for a refresh this year, I think, or next year, and it looked like that. And it's very expensive, so that didn't really resonate with us. Then we went to test drive a Honda CR-V, which got a lot of good write-ups. It was a bit cheaper, hybrid, lovely colours. I think you could get that in cream, but only the seats, in the lining of the seat was cream, wasn't it? But again, very basic, a lot of plasticky. Drove well, and that's one of the few cars you could actually do single pedal driving on it.
Yeah.
When you drove it around. But again, it wasn't as high as the others, but a lot of space in it. I just like the Hondas, I think. I'm just used to the feel of a Honda. And then I think the last one we went to drive was the Mitsubishi Outlander. And that was just one we saw online because it said it would do single pedal driving. The downside with Mitsubishis are they're only a smaller brand over here. We struggled to find a dealership. I think there's only 2 in the area.
Yeah, up near past Orlando.
The other side of Orlando. And when we went to do a test drive, this thing was like near the airport. And his idea of a test drive, there was a straight piece of road that went for half a mile.
Yeah.
And he just took you up and down the road. Like, you accelerated and broke, and that was it. And we're like, that wasn't really a test drive in it. So we actually found another dealer, and we test drove one there, and that was more of a ride. And what we liked about the Outlander was it was very comfortable. You could do the single pedal driving in theory, but neither of them had put petrol in them.
Yeah.
Neither of them had the battery charged. And so we couldn't really test them, could we? We could just kind of get the general feel on a normal petrol drive. But in theory, it could do single pedal driving. This was we're talking over a couple of months here.
Oh, yeah.
And then also we decided that new car price, all these were $50,000, was too expensive for trading Maxines in against it. And so we started looking in the used market for a used car. Looking at all those, mainly the CR-V, I think, and we're looking for an Outlander. We're looking at Pilots. We're looking at all of them, really, weren't we?
Yeah.
And Mazdas, to see what we could get at a reasonable price.
And it's like saying there's not many of them new.
No.
There's even less second hand.
Yeah, even less, especially the hybrids.
Yeah.
And really, if we wanted fuel efficiency, it really got it down to, a couple like the CR-V was very fuel efficient. It kind of ruled out, if you went with the Pilot or you went with the Palisade, you were not getting the fuel efficiency. No. So long story short, I know it's a long story, we haven't been short, but long story short, we managed to find a used car with CarMax, and we went up there with all the paperwork for our car, not knowing if we would trade it in or not, because this car was a used one, and we got it. So what did we get in the end? We got a Mitsubishi Outlander. So here's the keys for it. If it looks familiar, it's very much, this is basically a Nissan Rogue in another skin, or I think you call it the Qashqai in the UK. So this is a Nissan key, even though it shows the Mitsubishi on there, but we'll unlock. or you can just press your finger on there. We will get in, and as you can see, it is the cream interior that
Like we
Maxine was looking
wanted.
for. Got quite a step in height. It's quite high, isn't it, Max?
It is a lot
It's
higher
quite
than
high.
the Ioniq.
This is the SCL version, so it is kind of the top of the range. And you see, we have some of the things we really wanted. We wanted the power seat settings for 2 of us. We have an LCD display, all LCD display. We have the 10-inch display that I think you get that in the Rogue as well. It's not the biggest compared with cars today, but it, you know, kind of it does the job.
does the
doesn't
job.
it? Yeah, it's got built-in wireless CarPlay, but unfortunately, Android Auto, you have to use a wired connection, which is a bit of a pain. There's a wireless charger there. You have the shifter. You have lots of different modes that we don't really need in Florida.
Definitely not the snow
Not
mode.
the snow. We have the auto hold. We have these 2 pedals, which means just drive it in EV mode, or drive it with another thing we wanted, which was the braking, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
the
regenerative braking. And yeah, we also have a sunroof in this one because we got the extra package on it, and we have the leather seats at the back. There is also, I don't know if you can see it through there, but there is also
Heads-up display.
heads-up display. I'm just trying to get it in shot. I don't think I can actually see it, heads-up display. So yeah, it's pretty well kitted out. 2-zone climate control, heated seats, which of course you need
Of course, in
Florida. Yep. It has the Smart Cruise, which is the same one they use on the Nissans as well, which is like the steering and keep you in the lanes and everything. And yeah, electric windows everywhere. Nice padded arms, very, very, very well padded, and it looks kind of plush, doesn't it? Being
It does, yeah.
the cream, which is what you wanted.
It just needs a very good clean.
Yeah. When you saw the outside shots of this car today, is what, day 8 since we've had it?
Yeah.
So when you buy from CarMax, you can keep the car for 8 days and then just take it back, no quibbles asked. We have 38 miles of range left on the battery, and we have 307 miles in total. That's your petrol, that's your battery, how charged the battery is. In the back here, just show you in the back, you have a couple of seats in the back. Well, some of the camera gear we're using. We have a climate control in the back for those who want to use it, and heated seats in the back, and some pouches for your maps. You don't get many of them these days, do you? That roof's very panoramic. It goes all the way back. And then if we show you in the boot, so in here we put a liner in here, but under the floor there are another 2 seats. They're only like emergency seats, I would say, for kids. They fold up, so in theory you could squeeze 3 in there and have 2 in the back and have 7. You've got the rear seat belts here and everything for the people in the back. But it really is a bit of a squeeze, and because that takes up all the room, we bought some of these organisers to store the charging cables and everything, because there's no room under there for anything. You don't get a spare tyre these days. Got a couple of release levers for dropping the seats down when you need to, so you get, I think it's like 70 cubic feet in the back of storage space, which is quite adequate for what we need. So here's the electrical charging point. You just use a standard CCS connection there. Very, very slow charging. This will charge the battery in about 6 hours, which is not a lot to say you're getting 38 miles of range. And this is a very old school charger, Chatamo, that they do on the original Nissans. They still use them a lot in Asia. Can't get them over here, but you get about 40 minutes to charge it on a Chatamo, get you 38 miles of range on a full charge. And then, are you going to come and show your magic trick, Max, that you like?
My magic trick?
Yeah, the thing that Maxine really likes about this car. I have to go for it, Max. Kick up.
Kick. The kick thing.
The kick thing to open and close it. So there we go. It has 10,000 miles on it. It's a year old. So yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
Actually, it wasn't registered till like August.
No, it's
May,
only
wasn't it?
10,000 miles in like 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's quite aggressive. There's a few scratches on the back,
There's a ding in it.
and there's one ding in it. That's all we can see. But I think it was good enough because these are really rare to get. We've been looking for months and months to try and get one. We're looking for a red one, but we ended up getting this kind of grey silver. But I don't know if you can see on here, there is like just a little ding, a door ding where somebody's dinged the car there. And it's beeping because I'm out of the car with the keys. The wheels are very much Nissan wheels, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then the front is very polarising. Some say they love it, some say they hate it. I quite like it. I think it's quite chunky. It's a bit Range Rover-ish to me, Land Rover-ish to me at the front. Right, we do have built-in navigation here, but it's the sucky one like you had in your car, isn't it? In your Nissan, yeah.
Absolutely useless.
Yeah, and actually, to be fair, the Hyundai was useless as well, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So we do rely on Android Auto in here, but the actual system is very, very basic. Very, very basic system. But the other big thing about here that you wanted, Max, is
360 camera.
360 camera. You got more sun on us than you can see the camera at the moment, but yeah, there's a 360 camera there where we can check the surroundings and we can also see all above, which is really what we wanted, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The other reason we looked at this one is this has got a bit quite nippy, isn't it?
It's rather nippy.
Yeah, because if you look at the way this is wired, or I should say engineered, it's two engines, electric motors at the front, one at the back, and the engine really just powers the batteries and charges the batteries. So you get that instant torque when you kick off the line. It's just over 6 seconds from 0 to 60, which in a heavy SUV like this is quite good.
Quite fast.
Quite fast, and you can feel it, can't you, when you go?
You can feel
and then
it.
you can put this in power mode and it gives you a bit more of a punch. So yeah, so here's like the engine, and the engine doesn't really power the wheels. The engine, when I'm driving it, is usually charging the battery, or the wheels are charging the battery when you go. You can also get the engine just to charge the battery all the time. So instead of plugging it in at home, it will charge from the engine, but it's obviously that's not that fuel efficient unless you're doing like a motorway trip and the engine's going to be running anyway. Once you get into the high speeds, the engine will run to give it more boost and power the wheels. If it's running anyway, then you can also put it in something called charge mode, and it will charge the battery at the same time. So that's probably the most efficient way to use it. 64 miles to the gallon is what they're saying on this. With the battery, with charging it. Without the battery, with charging it, it's going to be more like 28, 30 miles to the gallon. So the goal is to always have some in your battery. And again, regenerative charging, you can plug it into 110, but that'll take you like 12 hours to charge it. We use the level 2 charger that we had for the Ioniq 5. So probably 5-6 hours this thing is charged to full at night. And I say 10,518 miles on now, so we've only put like a couple 100 miles on since we got it, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's really pottering around town. It's mainly running on battery all the time. You don't unless you force it, it will naturally run on battery for most of the time, and then just switch to engine when it needs to. You don't have to worry about it. You don't really feel it.
No.
It just does it automatically for you. Oh, and the other thing I forgot to mention is there's an app for it, a Mitsubishi app. And what can you do from the app, Max?
Turn the air conditioning on.
That was another one of our things we wanted, wasn't it? Because I don't think you could do that on the Sorento. We might be able to do it on Sorento.
I think you could.
But turn on the climate control. That's a big thing in Florida, is turning on the climate control when you're in the shops or wherever you are. So by the time you get to the car, it takes the temperature down from above 100 degrees to down to down to 70.
To whatever you want.
Whatever you want it to be, yeah. So you can do that from the app. You can turn it on. It has that connected. I think it's called Mitsubishi Connect. Is this one? We have it free till 2026, and then you have to pay for it. I have 2 years. First 2 years are free. Now we did test drive. We mentioned all the cars we test drove earlier on. We did test drive 2 of these.
Yes, we did.
And all those cars you saw earlier on, as I think I mentioned, were around the $50,000 mark. By the time you'd paid the dealer's fees, the taxes, everything else involved, it was about $50,000. The reason we went for a used one was we saved $15,000 by getting one that was a year old with 10,000 miles on it, as opposed to buying new. When we've been searching for the last 3 months to find a used one, there's been like 1 or 2. And the cream interior is the hard thing. I think there was only 3 cream interiors in the whole of North America, used ones up for sale.
Yeah.
And some of those are over in California where they run to like $2,000 to ship it. It's like, nope, we wanted something a little bit closer. So there you are, the Mitsubishi Outlander, our final choice. You know, it's like deal or no deal. You know, we could take it back, as we said, but we wouldn't get the money back. We wouldn't get the Ioniq back. We would just get the... And I didn't mention around the trade-ins as well. One of the reasons we went to CarMax is CarMax and Carvana, where we got the car from before, were offering the most money for Maxine's car. Thousands more than some of the garages, because we took it to some garages and got them to give us prices. So that's why it kind of narrowed us down to CarMax or Carvana, were 2 we're really sort of focusing on.
Yeah.
And CarMax also has a fixed fee of $600. Some of those garages we're talking on, it was $2,000 of fees are adding on to the price.
Plus we saved the tax as well.
Plus the tax, because we traded it in Orlando, we got the tax credit. Not the tax credit on an EV, but the tax credit, because that car is completely built in Japan, which should mean it's very solid and reliable, but you don't get the US tax credits on it as a used car. But there we go. We enjoy driving it. We've been getting good mileage. We were just working out to charge it overnight. If we plugged it in at home when we do the cheap rate overnight, if the battery was completely dead in it to 100% full, it would cost us about 70 cents, which is about 38 miles of range. So we think that's pretty good, and we've just been tootling around today, and it's been driving up to the shops. It's been on battery all day. You don't select it, it just does it automatically. And we will do a road trip in it. We'll stay tuned for next year. We'll do a road trip and really sort of stretch its legs going across country.
See what it can really do.
See what it can really do. It's a bit more wibbly wobbly in it than the other ones. It's very soft ride in it. You've forgotten a tall car as well. How you lean when you're going backwards and forwards around corners. But no, we enjoyed it. I hope this has been useful for you and given us our insight. I'm sure if you love EVs, that's fantastic. I think they are the future down the road, but not for us today and not what we want to do and not for our anxiety when we're driving. So thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please like and subscribe and put any questions or comments below on our journey with EVs. And we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.